Go to the ancient ruins, they said. Search for treasure, they said. It would be fun, they said. You are starting to regret listening to the advice of the villagers, because now, as the temperature rises and you smell sulfur in the air, you realize you've just walked into a dragon's lair. I've read every knight's journal, every ancient text, every long forgotten manuscript to bring you 5 steps that just might stop you from becoming smoky barbecue. And stay to the end, because I have a bonus step if the other 5 don't work. Your government hasn't prepared you for this, but I will. This is how to survive a dragon attack. Step 1, don't touch anything. You see that glittering pile of gold, you see those jewel encrusted artifacts, you see that conveniently open chest of treasure? Don't touch a thing. You may have come to this cave to get some treasure, but you won't be leaving with any. You see, dragons have an obsessive relationship with their hoard. They've counted every gem, they've memorized every coin. Moving even one piece will snap them awake faster than those muscle spasms you get when you're on the bus dozing off. That's not just me, right? That happens to everyone, right? 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 Oh, silly me. I forgot to mention, dragons can smell their hoard. That's right. Your hearing didn't suddenly fail you. You heard me correctly. Dragons can smell if even one copper coin has been displaced. So keep your hands in your pockets, no matter how much that big, nice, red ruby calls to you. No! Don't take anything. Step 2, identify your dragon. There are many different types of dragons, okay? And they all will kill you in a slightly different way. You have the most well-known, of course, fire dragons, normally red or orange scales. They breathe fire that can melt metal. Scary. Then you have ice dragons, maybe white, silver scales. They breathe vapor that can turn you into a popsicle. And then, of course, you have the really fun ones, like poison dragons with green scales that breath is completely toxic, or storm dragons. Aye, no one wants to see a storm dragon that literally just, shoot lightning. The color normally gives it away, but if you can't see the dragon yet, then feel what's around you. If it's unusually hot, a fire dragon. If it's unusually cold, ice dragon. If it smells like a chemical plant exploded, poison. You get the idea. Step 3, stay low and quiet. Keyword, quiet. Okay, look. At this point, we're assuming you've gone into the dragon's lair, you haven't taken anything, and you've seen it's a fire dragon, for example. Okay, great. But it's still sleeping on its nice pile of gold. You need to get out of there. Stay low and stay quiet. Dragons have exceptional hearing, so that means no whispering, no phones talking to you there on your phone, as in all of you, because you're maybe watching this video on your phone. Thanks for watching, by the way. And no panicked whimpering. I know it's hard, but please save your panic attack until later. Step 4, use their ego against them. Oh no, the dragon is awake. No, we're gonna die. Wait. It's okay. All is not lost. You see, dragons are not just mindless beasts. They're intelligent, extremely intelligent. Some of them can even talk. And one thing about dragons is because they're all big and powerful, they have an ego. You're going to use this to your advantage. You see, if the dragon decides to roast you instead of roast you, see what I did there, then you have the chance to talk it down. This is what you're going to do. Oh wow, Mr. Dragon or Mrs. Dragon, I don't want to assume. Your scales are so lovely. They shine brighter than the sun. Oh wow, your eyes are so big and round. They look like you can see right through me. Oh, Mr. or Mrs. or unassumed gender dragon. You are so handsome. Ah, your tail is so long, your claws are so sharp. What time is it, Mr. Dragon? Okay, wait, sorry, wrong story. Okay, yeah. You must be so wise and strong. You get the idea. Get the dragon to tell you its stories. It loves to tell stories. Just, here's a trick. You must be really wise. You must have seen a lot of things. I would love to have witnessed what you have witnessed in your life. That's it, you got him.
Got him!
Because suddenly the dragon would be like, oh, well, you have no idea. And it'll start explaining things, and as it's talking and just explaining you some story of how it saw St. George ride past him during the times of the Roman Empire, you just back away slowly. Back away to the exit. Go. But be careful. Dragons are smart enough to recognize obvious flattery. Subtlety is key. Step 5. The zigzag escape. Okay, you're almost at the exit, but oh no, the dragon saw through your compliments. It realizes that you are just trying to escape. It's coming at you. What do? Well, it's time to run. But you see, dragons are super fast. They can go up to 150 miles per hour in the air, 50 miles per hour on land at minimum. They're faster than you, but they have one clear disadvantage. They're big, they're massive, and they struggle to turn sharp corners. So this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna run, but never in a straight line for more than a few seconds. You do sharp turns, use objects to block the dragon's view, do a zigzag, and the dragon will be struggling. Now, hold on a minute. Don't be dumb about this. If the exit is straight in front of you and you start zigzagging towards it, the dragon knows where you're going. So you have to trick it. Go right, go left, go center. Make it think like you want to steal. Don't touch it because that will make it angrier. But make it think like you have other goals. And then zigzag your way to escape. And there you have it. You foolishly enter the dragon's lair, but fortunately you managed to escape. Oh, wait, what's that I hear? Firstly, I told you no phones, but secondly, what, you're saying that you got lost while trying to zigzag away from the dragon? Now you're cornered in the cave? I guess it's time for the bonus step. There's no choice but to become a dragon slayer. So now we have a big angry dragon wanting to burn you alive. You have to figure out how to kill it. There have been many examples of heroes killing dragons in the past. You had St. George, who had God on his side. You had Sigurd, who had a magic sword. You had Beowulf with the strength of 30 men. They all succeeded, so obviously we can... Wait. God, magic sword, strength of 30 men. Yeah, you know, I don't think we're able to do this. I've read through all the manuscripts, and honestly, anyone who slayed a dragon had some magical weapon or some special divine intervention. For you, some foolish adventurer who just has what's in their backpack, yeah, not gonna happen. Well, I guess that's it. I guess I failed. I was meant to teach you how to survive a dragon attack, but if you can't escape, I guess there's nothing you can do. Oh, wait. There is one thing that I can think of. It's a long shot, but hear me out. There have been cases, third-person documentation of times when a knight has killed a dragon by causing a cave-in. Here's how it happened. The knight goes into the cave. The cave is big, The dragon blocks the exit and just waits. The knight can't escape, so what does he do? He spends weeks weakening the structures, pillars, boulders, anything with a lot of mass on top of it. He weakens it and eventually he causes a cave-in. And that's probably your best bet, because, you know, tons of rock doesn't care if your scales are hard and can't be pierced by normal weapons. Just get the mountain to fall on top of this dragon, you're done. Well, I mean, yes, you'll die too, but I mean, what did you expect going into a dragon lair? You expected to get out of this alive? The chances are slim to none. In all seriousness, look, your absolute best bet, if you can't escape, is the cave-in method. Yes, it's not glorious, it's not heroic, and yes, you will probably die too. But on the bright side, at least the villagers will probably build you a statue in their market square. They'll make you a plaque and everything. It'll probably say something like, in remembrance of a foolish adventurer who died in a cave-in. But so did a dragon. The face of an old man. The body of a big red lion. A tail which has a scorpion-like stinger that shoots and then regenerates immediately. 3 rows of teeth, magical immunity, sometimes dragon-like wings. Should I go on? Your government hasn't prepared you for this, but I will. This is how to survive a manticore attack. And you're going to appreciate elephants much more after this. More on that later. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What have you got yourself mixed up into this time? What was that? Huh? You were traveling with a trade caravan along the Silk Road when you got lost? How do you get... Oh, I see. You had to go on a relief mission. Well...
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Issue is that you see that old man's face popping out of that tall grass? Yeah, that's not an old man. That means trouble. And unless you follow my 5 steps and 1 bonus step to a T, you're gonna end up as minced meat.
Man, in the game that he played for the sand in the shade, she parades you to swear in the shades.
So, step 1, do not approach. Originally named Martikora in Persian, which literally means man-eater, the manticore is a being of pure evil. Just so you understand why you should not approach that old man's face, but why you may want to, I'm going to explain how a manticore hunts. The first thing is, manticores sometimes hunt in pairs or trios. If that were the case, you would already be dead. So, we're gonna assume that there is one manticore hunting you. The way a lone manticore hunts is by setting an ambush. Here's what it does. It will find a place to hide the majority of its animalistic body. So, that may be the darkness of a cave, some thick bush behind a thick tree, or in this case, in some tall grass. And then it will just pop out its face, which is always an old man's face. Yes, even the females have faces that look like old human men. Take it up with them, not me. The manticore will then try to lure you to come towards it, to approach it, right? The way it will do this, it may vary, but usually it'll be something along the lines of looking feeble, shaking as if in pain, you know, his face just like perhaps groaning and moaning, and maybe asking for help. Yes, manticores sometimes can speak. More on that later. You may see an old man and be like, oh, what's going on here? And you start to approach, you're curious, you're like, what is happening? And then bam, the manticore will launch its stinger from its tail. It shoots. You won't see it because it's coming out of whatever hiding spot it's in, but you will feel it when it enters your chest. the venom acts immediately, burning you up from the inside. It feels like you're being torn apart. And then the manticore will launch at you and start tearing you apart from the outside. Very painful way to go. Their 3 sets of teeth will rip through every part of you and it will swallow everything. I mean everything. Your organs, your bones, your hair, your clothes, your belongings. Manticores leave nothing behind. The name man-eater fits exactly. Wow. That got dark. But it only gets worse. Cheers to that. Did I just spin on myself? Seriously? I don't know, can you... Quick change of shirt. You see, this is what talking about manticores do to me. I'm a mess. They are scary. They are scary, scary beings. Anyway, like I said, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes manticores can talk. Now, they are intelligent beings, but it's not like they can understand human language. But since they have a human face, human tongue, etc., they can mimic human language. So you might hear, you know, help, oh no, random things, not full sentences, but things that, you know, it's heard people say probably when it's hunting, and it can repeat back to you. Edward Topsell, an English cleric and author, who in 1607 he released a bestiary, a book, a collection of creatures called, wait, History of Four-Footed Beasts. He wrote that the manticore's voice sounds like a small trumpet or pipe. That's actually very helpful to us, because you may have been thinking, oh, but it seems like I could actually get tripped. If I see a human face seeming to be in pain and is actually speaking, then before it clicks, I could start to approach and then it could be too late. But here's the thing. If you see, first of all, you're in the wilderness, middle of nowhere, you see a face of an old man specifically, but no body or the body is hidden, pause. Then, if he speaks, but not full sentences, just like abstract words, seeming like he's not fluent. Maybe a mix of languages even.
You!
Yes?
Not you, him! What's your name?
Me.
Yes, you!
I am me. He's me. And I'm you.
And the voice sounds weirdly metallic, then that's a clear sign that that is not an old man who needs help. That is a manticore who is trying to ambush you, and you need to freeze so you don't die horrifically within the next few seconds. Honestly, like, do not approach. This here is the minimum, because really the true survival game starts now. Step 2, be ready to dodge. Look, manticores are not just some dumb beasts. They have close to human intelligence. So, a lot of the performative advice you might see around when people are talking about what to do when you come into contact with a lion or a bear won't work here. Not in isolation anyway. Know that everything I tell you to do, every single step and the bonus step that is coming, likely will still end in your death. Yes, seriously. But if you want any possible chance of escaping this situation with your life, then what I tell you is the only way to possibly do it. But it's not guaranteed. I hope you've been practicing your footwork, because as soon as the manticore realizes that you're not falling for its trap and you're not approaching it, it's just gonna start shooting those stingers. Bam, bam, bam. They are fast and you need to be able to dodge them. Let's talk about the stinger for a second, because obviously I've mentioned a few times that the manticore's tail looks like a scorpion's, ends in a stinger, which is extremely venomous, and it can shoot the stinger and it regenerates almost immediately within 30 seconds. Now, the venom specifically can probably be compared to the venom of the Deathstalker, which is widely considered to be the most venomous scorpion in the world, except a manticore's is 10 times stronger. A sting from a manticore is almost always fatal. So unless you are an elephant, more on that later, or you have a magical anti-venom created by an ancient wizard, being stung is game over. So hopefully you followed the advice of step 1. You didn't approach, so you have some distance, right? That means you can see the stingers coming. The stingers aren't going at like super speeds, like bullet speeds. No, you can see them if you have enough distance, and then you can dodge. So jump to the left, jump to the right. You cannot let them touch you. Your life depends on it. Step 3, prepare to fight. At this point, the manticore has shot a few stingers and you have managed to dodge them. So it's getting to crunch time now. You see, the only reason that you are still alive right now is because in general, manticores are rather arrogant. They don't just see humans as prey. They see them as lesser beings, hardly worth the effort. So the manticore does not really want to spend that much effort to catch you. That's why it tries to lure you towards it and then just take you out. If that doesn't work, it just starts shooting. It feels like you're so slow you can't even avoid the stingers. It thinks we're dumb. Maybe we are, but make no mistake. There is almost zero chance the manticore is just letting you go just because you gave it a little bit of trouble. This is going to be a fight either way. So you have to put the odds in your favor a little bit. If you have a weapon, take it out now. If you have a divine or enchanted weapon or magic abilities, then why are you even watching this video? Go take that thing out, man. Do the rest of us a favor. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Please. But I'm assuming you don't have an enchanted weapon or magic abilities, else why would you be here? Us regular folk are limited to regular weapons, and unfortunately regular weapons do not actually do much damage to most of the manticore's body. There are some sensitive parts that we will talk about later, but at this point the goal is not to slay the manticore with your little pocket knife. It's to show the manticore that you are not going down without a fight. The manticore knows that it can be hurt by magic, and it doesn't know whether you can use magic or not. In fact, just by surviving this long, you may be putting tiny seeds of doubt into the manticore's mind that maybe you are different from the puny humans it normally eats, and that is good. Obviously, there is no difference, except that you watched this video and the other victims didn't. Thanks for watching, by the way. But the manticore doesn't know that, and that's good for you. While the manticore continues to size you up, stay agile, stay on the balls of your feet, jump and dodge. Keep your chest out with confidence, keep your weapon out, and bit by bit, back away from the manticore, putting as much distance between you and it as possible. At this point, it may come out of its hiding. It's testing, it's looking. Manticores are cunning. They won't enter a fight unless they know they can win. And even if they do that, then they're gonna take the most efficient path possible. And at this point, the manticore is not gonna throw itself into a physical battle with you, not yet. It's wondering what kind of person you are who could survive this long, but it doesn't necessarily feel in danger, so it might be slowly approaching. As long as you keep dodging the stingers and keep backing away, you will put yourself in the perfect position for the next step, step 4. But before I explain what step 4 is, let's go to the bonus step and I'll explain what not to do in this situation. So you are trying to act confident and tough while backing up. You've put some distance. The manticore is still there, still sizing you up. It will shoot a stinger every now and then you will dodge. I know you're probably getting tired, your legs are burning a bit, but stay strong. It's just this situation you have to get out of, and then the rest of your life will be easy in comparison. So, the only option now, as you might have guessed, especially if you've watched my last video, how to survive a dragon attack, is to run in a zigzag pattern to make sure you avoid the stingers when you're running. But where are you going to run to? What's the strategy? What's the plan? Well, a bunch of things may have come to your mind in this situation. If you think you can outpace it, wrong. Manticores can run up to 60 kilometers an hour, 37 miles per hour, and fly just as fast if they have wings. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. For comparison, Usain Bolt, when he set the 100-meter world record in Berlin in 2009 with a time of 9.58 seconds, reached a top speed of 44.72 kilometers an hour, which is 27.8 miles per hour. So not even Usain Bolt could outrun a manticore, and that was only between meters 60 and 80 at his top speed. So you aren't going to outrun it. A quick side note, I actually saw Usain Bolt live at the 2012 London Olympics when he won the 100-meter finals. That was incredible. One of the best sporting events I've ever been to. But anyway, not even he, at his absolute peak, could outrun a manticore. And you're not him, are you? Yeah, didn't think so. Oh, what about climbing a tree, you might say? Well, manticores often have wings. They can just fly up and get you. Not only that, but even if they don't have wings, they are great climbers. They can climb trees very well. But you know, in all honesty, a manticore is probably not going to do either of those things if you climb a tree. It's just going to stay at the bottom and shoot stingers at you. And you precariously balancing on a branch, it's going to make it much harder to dodge, so the stinger hits you, you fall out the tree, and you become manticore's next meal. Oh, you might think, what about getting into water? They can't swim, right? Well, they can swim, but this is getting a little bit better. Much better than the idea of climbing a tree. You see, manticore's bodies are that of a lion. They can swim. Lions can swim, manticores can swim. The only difference is that a manticore has a bunch of other biological parts that make it a lot less smooth in the water. Its tail weighs it down, its face is not built for water, its wings may get wet and slow it down. So if you are a strong swimmer, you may be able to outswim a manticore. But why would a manticore get in the water? Either it will just fly above you, grab you from the air, shoot a stinger at you from shore, and then go swim out to get you. No, manticores are not dumb beasts, like I said. It's not going to put itself in a situation that it knows it can't win. So after all that, it only leaves one option. Step 4. Find an elephant. Okay, wait. Hear me out, okay? Hear me out, don't call me stupid in the comments. An elephant is the best possible way to survive a manticore attack. I promise you, and I will explain why. According to all the classic literature, elephants are the only creatures on planet Earth who are immune to manticore venom. That, on top of their thick skin, their huge size, and their tusks, mean that manticores tend to just avoid them entirely. And historically, if an elephant sees a manticore, it knows that thing is a menace. It's going to try and attack it. So if you can find an elephant, then not only will the elephant protect you and fight the manticore off, but the manticore will probably just leave you be. It doesn't want to be close to an elephant. But you may be thinking, but why would elephants just randomly be around when I come face to face with a manticore? Well, that's because manticores and elephants share the same land. Nowadays, it gets a bit more difficult. Back in the day, it was easier, but everything will be explained. Look, manticores tend to dwell in remote areas, normally in deserts, in wilderness, forests, caves. They love a good cave. And historically, they were in Persia, now modern day Iran, and India. You see where this is going? And 3/4 of the whole Asian elephant population is in India. So, if you're in India and you see a manticore, you just may be in luck to find an elephant. Unfortunately now the Asian elephant is no longer in Iran, so if you see a manticore in Iran, then I am sorry, you are in trouble. But even now in India, there aren't as many elephants as there used to be, and they aren't all around, but this is your best bet. Based on everything I researched, if you can find an elephant, you can survive this situation. The steps beforehand are just there to survive long enough to get as much distance to hopefully be able to run beeline straight to an elephant. Once you're near an elephant, you're good. But if you are in Iran or you're in India but you can't find an elephant, which honestly is rather rare, I don't think you're gonna find random elephants that easily anymore. If this was some years ago, 100, 200 back when manticores were much more prevalent, supposedly, then yeah, it might be more likely you would find an elephant. But now there is a lot of luck involved, and if you cannot find an elephant, then you better hope that how you've acted up to this point has made the manticore decide to go for other prey. But that is almost certainly not happening. In everything I've read, I never saw a situation where a manticore gave up on the kill no matter what. If you can't find an elephant, the manticore probably is going to realize that you can't really do much to it, so it's going to rush you either on foot or from the air. And if that happens, you literally have only one more option. Step 5, become a manticore slayer. I did a lot of research to give you the best possible advice to survive a manticore attack, but in everything I read, everything I researched, there was not one instance of someone defeating and slaying a manticore. Not one. I promise you, look it up. There is not one instance in all of literature in the history of humankind where a manticore was killed by a person. Sure, they have weaknesses, elephants, magic, but still, no one has been able to do it that's been recorded. So if a manticore does attack you, what do you do? Just fight for your life. That's all you can do. I looked over a manticore's biology, how they act, compared it to other animals and what to do, and I came up with one sequence of attacks that can possibly I'm laughing because this is so it's almost impossible to survive this situation, but there is one sequence of attacks I came up with that you can possibly survive. You won't kill the manticore. You won't become a manticore slayer, I'm sorry. But you may be able to survive. It goes like this. First, avoid the stinger. You have to keep moving, you have to keep dodging. Avoid the stinger. If a manticore swipes you with its claws or bites down with its teeth, that is preferable to being stung by the stinger. You have to avoid the stinger at all costs. Then, the manticore is going to get close to you no matter what. You're going to get injured. You're not going to escape this without injury. What you need to do is shove your arm down the manticore's throat. You might be thinking, Andrew, you are crazy. Look, yes, they have 3 rows of teeth. It's dangerous. But if you shove your arm down the manticore's throat, you will trigger the automatic gag reflex. And if it's gagging, 2 things will happen. 1, the manticore can't bite down when it's gagging. Think about it. Think about times you've choked. Are you able to bite? No. Second, it will be distracted suddenly because its instincts of survival start kicking in. It might start clawing at you, but more than likely, it won't be thinking straight about how best to attack you. That gives you a chance. Your arm is down its throat, and then with your weapon, whatever you have, whatever you got with you, even if it's a pocket knife, you go for the eyes. It has a human face. The eyes are super sensitive. So just go for them. Your goal is to blind the manticore. Go for the eyes as much as possible. Try and blind it. Once the manticore cannot see anymore, pull your arm out of its mouth and run. Okay, look, the manticore's other senses are very good. Its smell, its hearing, but not extraordinary where it will know where you are at all times without sight. So first, it's gonna be in pain, struggling, it's just been blinded, it's just been choked. You run, put as much distance between it and yourself as possible. If the manticore starts chasing you, which it probably will after a few seconds, this is when you have to hide, run, do everything you can to stay out of its grasp. You have the advantage, and eventually the manticore hopefully will be unable to find you, and then it will move along. That is the only possible way that I have calculated how to defeat a manticore. The good thing is that it's not that much bigger than you, so you can fight it and you can do damage to the eyes. But without magical weapons, honestly, you're not going to be able to do much more than that. And that is such a risky strategy. And you're not going to even get out of it without bad injuries from its claws and teeth. So even if you avoid the stinger and you manage to choke it with your arm and then blind it, there's no guarantee that you'll even be in any shape to run away. But you know, that's the best you can possibly do. This one is tough. Well, next time you are traveling in manticore territory, maybe stay with your group, yeah? I find that bottles are pretty good for relief, let's say. Oh, and if you see a baby manticore, do us all a favor and get a big rock, smash its tail. If its tail gets smashed when it's a cub, it doesn't grow back, which means it doesn't have the stingers, which means you're doing all of us a favor. And if you do come across an adult manticore, you better hope that someone smashed its tail when it was younger. Sirens are not mermaids, at least not according to their origins. And if you are gonna survive a siren attack, then it is important that you know the difference. Today, I bring you 5 steps to show you how to survive a siren attack. And make sure you stay for the bonus step, where I show you what to do if you come across a mermaid as well. Step 1, know what you are facing. So, sirens are creatures from Greek mythology, first appearing in the Odyssey, one of 2 epic poems credited to Homer. The other, of course, being the Iliad. I say credited to Homer because, as far as I know, we're not even sure if Homer was a real person, but at least we say he wrote these poems, right? In the Odyssey, the sirens are described as human-like beings with alluring voices. Their siren song causes sailors who hear it to become captivated and steer their ships toward the sound where the sirens are waiting in rocky areas. The ships will inevitably crash into the rocks and get shipwrecked. The sailors will either drown, or in some cases, it is said that the sirens will grab them and eat them. Pretty grim, right? Funnily enough, Homer never actually describes what the sirens look like. He leaves it up to the imagination of the reader. By the 17th century BC, they were regularly depicted in art and stories as, pay attention to this part, half woman, half birds. That's right, not half woman, half fish, but with women's heads, bird feathers, and scaly feet. Their look did eventually evolve over time. They eventually were depicted as like the whole upper body as a woman's, and just with long, like bird-like legs, kind of like a harpy. A harpy is another creature from mythology, which was something similar. But they're different. Sirens are different to harpies that are different to mermaids. We'll get to it. Anyway, when they were depicted with woman upper bodies and bird legs, they would sometimes have wings, sometimes not. It depended on the artist, on the depiction. So let's compare that to the origin of a mermaid. I was looking it up, and mermaids originate from folklore, which means these were stories that were told by people over the years, so it's tough to figure out where exactly it originated. I mean, it's the same with sirens. I saw some historians say that actually sirens didn't originate with the Greeks, but with before that, and it was passed down by people telling stories to others until Homer was the first one to actually write it down in the Odyssey. Something similar with mermaids. I couldn't find out where they originated from, but they're in the folklore traditions of many different cultures, from Europe to Latin America to Africa to Asia. They're across all of them. Mermaids in different stories have sometimes been connected to different natural disasters like shipwrecks or storms or even people drowning, things like that. But in a lot of cases, they're mostly nice, friendly. Sometimes they give gifts. Sometimes they even fall in love with a human, like the Little Mermaid, you know? So these two creatures, a siren and a mermaid, are completely separate, different origins, completely different, with sirens seemingly coming into being first. But then why do people think they are the same thing? Well, the earliest example of a siren being described as a half woman, half fish that I could find was on a bowl, artwork on a bowl originating from the 3rd century BC in Athens. But in literature, it was the Liber Monstrorum. Essentially, it was a catalogue of creatures that was written about the late 7th, early 8th century AC. But even then, most people who knew about sirens thought of them as half woman, half bird creatures. They truly started to become confused with mermaids in the later Middle Ages. It started with artists just drawing different depictions of sirens that they looked like mermaids, and then just over time one artist would see another artist do it and do the same, and again and again and again, and it just became what was thought to be common knowledge when it came to sirens and mermaids, that they were the same thing. And now in modern times, if you look at any story that includes a siren, more than likely you will see that it's a mermaid with a dangerous singing voice. Yet, at the same time, in a lot of other stories, mermaids are shown as nice and friendly and even falling in love with humans and all this stuff. So what is it? Is it that the mermaids who sing are bad and the mermaids who have bad voices are good? No. And that's why this is important to differentiate for step 1. You need to know who you are facing. Siren and mermaids are not dealt with the same way. They don't even look the same in most cases, it seems, but however sirens look, they are not friendly, and they will be your end if you do not take the proper precautions. Lucky for you though, it is pretty clear. Mermaid, half woman, half fish. Siren, half woman, half bird. You see, yeah, you get that? Half woman, half fish, different, and we'll talk about that in the bonus step, what to do if you see that. But half woman, half bird, you see that? Well, you're probably in trouble, because if you're that close where you can see them, unless you've already watched this video, thanks for watching by the way, then you are going to be in danger. So you need to protect yourself before you get too close to the sirens, and that brings us to step 2. Recognize where sirens are located. The writers of old seemingly can't agree where you will find the sirens. Not exactly. Let me explain. Virgil, author of the famous epic poem The Aeneid, also a fantastic story, wrote that the sirens inhabit some rocky islands named Sirenum Scopuli. They were described as sharp rocks, essentially jutting out of the sea just south to the island of Capri. Capri is an island just off the coast of Italy. Meanwhile, good old Homer, I'm a big fan of Homer by the way, if he even existed, but anyway. Homer wrote in the Odyssey that the sirens are located on some rocks jutting out of the sea in between the island of Aya, which is the island that it is said that the goddess / sorceress Circe lived. In the Odyssey, Odysseus spent a year on that island with Circe. And the rock of Scylla. Scylla is a man-eating monster. and it is said that the sirens were somewhere between them. Odysseus came across Scylla during the Odyssey. We are going deep into mythology today, aren't we? But I love it. I love it. Let's go deeper, shall we? Let's go deep. On a side note, there's a movie coming in 2026 directed by Christopher Nolan called The Odyssey, based of course on the Odyssey. It's starring Matt Damon as Odysseus. I think it has Tom Holland, Zendaya, John Bernthal. I am looking forward to it. The Odyssey is a great story, and I think Christopher Nolan is going to do it justice. Anyway, that was a side note. I'm getting distracted already. Let's focus, because you need to survive a siren. Again, wherever Aya and the rock of Scylla are, somewhere between that, these are just off the coast of Italy. Perhaps near Paestum, which was an ancient Greek city. It located near the coast in what is now modern day Italy. Or maybe between Sorrento, another city in Italy, and the island of Capri again. Somewhere in that area. Even more writers say sirens were located on the island of Anthemoessa, which is actually a forgotten name, as in we see it in the literature, but we don't actually know which island it was the name of. But historians think that it was the name of one of the islands located in the Gulf of Naples, which is that same area. So yes, as you can see by me listing a bunch of hard to pronounce places, no one can agree exactly where the sirens are, but they can agree on two things. One is that sirens are located on some kind of rocky islands. It's literally how they do their damage. They attract people on ships to crash into rocks. They're on rocky islands somewhere. And the second thing that all writers can agree on is that those rocks are located in the Tyrrhenian Sea. The Tyrrhenian Sea is part of the Mediterranean Sea, just off the coast of Italy. And fortunately for you, that means you know exactly where in the world you need to be cautious of sirens and start taking precautions. So everything I tell you in all of the steps after this only applies if you are in the Tyrrhenian Sea, which leads us to step 3. Plug your ears. As soon as you enter the Tyrrhenian Sea, I want you to take a page out of Odysseus's book and plug your ears. Well, actually, that's not exactly true, because Odysseus, being the crazy menace he is, actually wanted to hear the siren song. He wanted to know what they sang to him. So he ordered his crew to tie him to the mast so that he couldn't move, but he kept his ears unplugged. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew used beeswax that they got from Circe. It was Circe, the goddess sorceress, who warned them about this. She gave them beeswax and they plugged their ears so they couldn't hear the siren song. If a whole crew hears the siren song, they will all want to go. They'll just work together, steer their ship towards the song. They'll crash into the rocks, everyone dead. But if one person hears the siren song, they will try to get the ship to go towards the sound. But if they can't, they will just jump in the sea and try and swim and probably drown or get eaten. We'll go into more detail into what exactly happens when you hear the siren song later in the video. So, if Odysseus hadn't been tied to the mast, he would have, jumped to his death essentially. But we're not gonna be silly like that. We're gonna plug our ears like the rest of the crew did. But, come on, it's modern day here. We don't need no beeswax. Let's just get some noise cancelling earphones, put them in, connect it to our phones, turn the music up to the max and rock on. We're good. We're like sailing through the Tyrrhenian Sea, vibing to the music. And the siren song cannot affect us. However, it's tough to control everyone on a ship, and there's always that one person, that one silly person that just doesn't follow instructions. So, in case that someone decides they're curious like Odysseus too, and they want to take their earphones out and listen to the siren song, you need step 4, backup plan. If someone is being naughty and they take out their earphones, you will notice it immediately. You see, the siren song is said to appeal to a person's deepest desires. It confuses the brain's chemical pathways and creates a euphoric, hypnotic state that overrides logic and all sense of self-preservation. Essentially, it's like taking the best, most powerful, most addictive, the ultimate feel-good drug. That's why the only way to survive this situation is to never hear the song, because once you hear the song, that's it, you're done, it's over for you. All rational thought leaves you and you only want one thing: to go where the song is coming from. If one of your crew hears the song, then they will first become extremely happy and joyful. Then they will immediately try to steer the ship to go towards the sound. Hopefully it's just one person and you can stop them. If you do stop them, they will start begging, convincing, using every skill in the book. They'll become the best used car salesman you've ever seen to try and convince you that you need to go towards the sound. But of course, you, because you actually want to live, have your ears plugged, so you can't hear them, which means the final thing they will do when they see they can't get their way is they will just run and jump overboard and try to swim towards the sirens. That's when they will either drown because they're swimming in the middle of the ocean, or they will reach the sirens, who will very nicely help them up onto the rock before devouring them. Not a nice way to go. If you see this starting to happen, then you need to grab that crewmate, tie them down securely, make sure they can't go anywhere, and if you have the earphones, put earphones back in, turn that music up, it will be done. They'll stop hearing it. The siren song only works when you are actively listening to it. If you can't find their earphones and you can't block their ears somehow, just make sure they can't move. As long as they're tied down securely, once you get out of the earshot range of the sirens, they will be fine. Which leads me to the next step, step 5. Distance is your friend. If you actually see a siren, then you are dangerously close. Their voices can go loud. Just earplugs isn't a sure way to make sure you're safe if you're that close that you can actually see them. Because you can hear their voice when you can't yet see them. But if you're that close that you can see them, you need to get out of there now. It doesn't matter where your destination is, you can circle back later. You need to put as much distance between you and the sirens as possible, immediately. And once you are far away from those dreaded, beautifully voiced death deliverers, I would still recommend you keep those earphones in until you are out of the Tyrrhenian Sea. Truly, it's just safer that way. Again, no one can agree on exactly where the sirens are or even how many they are. Maybe they're in multiple places. Homer said there were 2, other writers have said up to 6 or more. Just keep the earphones on, it's safest that way. And then once you exit the Tyrrhenian Sea or you get to land, you can safely take the earphones off and know that you have survived death. That's great. Isn't it great? There's actually a situation that you have like a good chance of survival here. Unlike my last 2 videos, how to survive a dragon and how to survive a manticore, you can actually survive this one. Oh, I love being positive. Isn't it great? But I promised a bonus step, and here it is. How to survive a mermaid attack. Mermaids, like humans, have a wide range of personalities. Some are good, some are bad, some are nice, some are shy, some are mean, some are rude, some are kind. So, if you meet a mermaid, don't automatically assume it's some evil creature that wants to eat you. It could just be another regular mermaid that's just as shocked to see you as you are to see it. Be nice, talk to it, show it you mean no harm whatsoever. But if you do come across a mermaid that wants to hurt you, then you have to negotiate. If you have the chance, ask them why they want to hurt you, why they're attacking you, what do they want? Apologize to them if you have done something to offend it. Even if it's not offensive in your opinion, if the mermaid says it's offended, be honest, say, I'm really sorry, I didn't know that was a problem. I apologize, try and make amends. If they have a problem, maybe you caused a problem, maybe they have a problem and they're taking it out on you, whatever it is, maybe offer to help them, try and make a friend, try and work together. You know, species to species, we should be kind to one another. But if all of that fails, you need to get a land. But more than likely, if you're seeing a mermaid that wants to attack you, you're in the water, you're at sea, and there's no way you can outswim the mermaid. That's like saying a mermaid can outrun us on land. No, you can't outswim a mermaid. Which means if the mermaid truly does want to hurt you and negotiation does not work, there is only one option. Become a mermaid slayer. I like mermaids, I really do. But just like humans have their Ted Bundys, mermaids have their crazies too. But remember, they are flesh and blood, just like us. Use whatever weapon you have if you have to fight. Go for their eyes, go for their gills if they have them. Some do, some don't, depends on the type of mermaid. Go for their tails and fins, that affects their mobility in the water. If you do get a good hit on the tail, then you may be able to swim to land, boat, etc. if you're close enough. Otherwise, if it's not working, then, you know, do what you gotta do. Fight like your life depends on it, because it probably does if the mermaid's trying to actually hurt you. Think of it like this. What would you do if you were in the middle of nowhere and a crazy person came up trying to hurt you? You would fight to the best of your ability. Well, do that with the mermaid. They don't have anything over you except for the fact that the same way we're comfortable on land, they're comfortable in the water. You are at a disadvantage, sure, but you just have to fight as hard as you can, and the same things that hurt on us hurt on them. And if you win the fight, get out of there. Swim away, sail away, paddle away, whatever you need to do, because you do not want more mermaids to come find you next to the corpse of one of their own. Just get out of there. And there you have it. We cleared up the difference between sirens and mermaids, and we came across two situations that it's actually possible to survive. I'm feeling good. Are you feeling good? I'm feeling good, honestly. If the phoenix, the legendary immortal bird that lives for centuries before bursting into flames and being reborn from its own ashes, decides to attack you, then you are not going to have a good day. But if you follow my 5 steps and one bonus step, then you may at least survive the day. Step 1, rethink your life decisions. If you are in a position where a phoenix is attacking you, then you are in the wrong. You can be sure about that. You see, all throughout history, historians, geographers, and writers have described the phoenix as majestic and benevolent. They are extremely rare to see, with sightings happening approximately every 500 years. They are intelligent, complex, connected to the sun, and symbols of resurrection, rebirth, and starting anew. One is lucky if they ever get to see a phoenix in their lifetime, and touching one is virtually impossible. So if you are being attacked, there can only be 3 possible reasons. 1, you saw and attacked the phoenix first. 2, you are trespassing in the phoenix's territory. And 3, you are interrupting one of the phoenix's sacred rituals. 1 and 3, it's your fault. 2, potentially could not be your fault, but the thing is, a phoenix doesn't just attack because you're in its territory. At least not straight away. The reason it would be attacking you is because you stayed in its territory. So if you were to leave straight away, you would be fine. So the fact that it is attacking you means that you are hanging around, and that is your mistake. So of course, my job is to help you survive, no matter what the situation is. But after you do survive the situation following my steps that I'm going to outline in this video, we need to have a talk, just me and you.
Me and you.
We need to talk about your life decisions that led up to this point. Seriously. you can do better. But since you have got yourself into this situation, I'm gonna help you get out of it. Step 2, know what you are facing. You may know the phoenix as the creature that bursts into flames when it dies and then is reborn. And that is true, but that is not its only ability. Phoenixes are extremely powerful creatures, which is why it's a good thing it doesn't normally attack us. Also why you are in an especially difficult situation right now. If you are a Harry Potter fan, you may know that phoenixes have healing tears. That is an example of its magical ability, but in this situation, you can be rest assured that you're not going to benefit from that. Instead, you are more likely to be knocked around by the phoenix's super strength. Different reports say a phoenix is somewhere between the size of an eagle and an ostrich. But all reports talk about how incredibly strong the phoenix is, stronger than any other bird its size. So it will be able to knock you around. Not to mention how powerful its beak is and how sharp its claws are. So sharp that if it wanted to, it could tear into your skin and flesh and rip you apart. And I haven't even mentioned the most dangerous ability of the phoenix. Phoenixes are linked to the sun, to solar cycles, and unsurprisingly, to fire. They don't just have the ability to burst into flames when they die, but they have the power to burst into less powerful flame whenever they want. Normally it's used as a defense mechanism to stop anyone from attacking or touching it, but you can rest assured that if the phoenix is attacking you, it's going to be on fire. The odds are not in your favor, but don't worry, I got you. You just have to do step 3, cover its eyes. Funnily enough, the phoenix will likely go for your eyes when it's attacking you. You're going to return the favor. If you have a jacket, a blanket, or some kind of opaque material, then throw it over the phoenix's head. This will temporarily disorientate the phoenix and give you a chance to move to step 4. But if you don't have any material or anything like that, then you're going to have to get a bit more violent. Now, I am against phoenix cruelty. They are magnificent creatures, but if it's between you and the phoenix, maybe I'm still on the phoenix's side, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you how to survive this situation. So, if you have a weapon or even a tool or anything solid and thin enough, then you can jab it at the phoenix's eyes. The goal is to temporarily disorientate, blind it, to give you some space to move on to the next step. If you don't have any tool, any weapon or nothing, just use your fingers. It's good enough. Just jab your fingers into the phoenix's eyes. That way it will get a bit away, it might panic a bit, and it will give you enough space to move to step 4, get wet. Hopefully you have just put something over the phoenix's head and you haven't actually hurt it. If you have just put some material over its head, then you don't have long before the flames of the phoenix burns the material away. If you did hurt the phoenix and it is actually blinded, then the same thing applies because the phoenix has a healing factor, so it won't be long before it heals. That's also why it is actually worse for you to hurt the phoenix. Because it will heal, you'll just make it more angry and it won't really do much unless you are going all the way, which we will talk about more in the bonus step. But for now, you have a few seconds to make your move. And that move should be to get wet. At this point, not only have you probably been burnt pretty badly, but the phoenix is going to come at you pretty quickly. It's pointless to try and use water to attack the phoenix or get the phoenix wet. The fire comes from inside it and burns so hot that the water will quickly evaporate. But if the water is on you, however, it will help stop you from burning as quickly as if you were dry. Not only that, but it can temporarily soothe the burns that you already have so that you can have a bit less pain and think a bit more clearly. So if you are near a water source like a river, a lake, a pond, then jump in, get completely submerged. You're actually pretty lucky. If you don't have a water source nearby, but you have, say, a water bottle, pour it over yourself, all of it, get it everywhere. If you don't have any access to any water at all, unlucky, but all is not lost because you can still attempt step 5. Get out of there. You need to run or swim if you are lucky enough to be in a body of water. The most important thing is you put as much distance between yourself and the phoenix as possible. You are wet, so when the phoenix comes at you again, it will just give you that slight buffer, a little bit more time before the flames start really badly burning you again. Those couple seconds could be the difference between success or failure, because the thing is, the phoenix does not want to end your life. It wants to solve the problem that you caused, whatever it is. So if you get far enough away from it and out of its territory, then it will leave you alone. And that is what the water is doing, just giving you a few more seconds while you just book it and get out of there. But if you have been burnt so badly during the escape that you can't even move anymore, then you failed. If you are not wet, still run as fast as you can. It will be painful, the phoenix will be going after you, but if you can get far enough away, then it's possible that the phoenix will leave you alone and you will survive this situation. And there you have it, how to survive a phoenix attack, which shouldn't even be happening. But of course, things don't always go to plan. And what kind of survival guide would I be if I didn't help you plan for all eventualities? So therefore, we must go on to the bonus step, become a phoenix slayer. If for whatever reason you cannot escape and the phoenix is continuing to attack you, then you have no choice but to fight as best you can. A phoenix does have a strong healing factor, but only when it is breathing. Other than that, you can beat the phoenix in any other way that you could a normal bird. If you have a weapon, go for the heart, the neck, any vital areas, and you will be able to win the fight. You will get burnt rather badly in the process, and maybe the flames will beat you before you can beat it. But if you are in this situation, you just have to fight. And if you do manage to kill the phoenix, then the most important thing is you have to run, because within seconds it is going to burst into flames as hot as lava, and from those flames the phoenix will be born again, and its first thought will be of how you just killed it. So I hope you are fast, because you better make sure it never sees you again. Surviving a vampire attack is no easy feat, but if you follow my 5 steps and one bonus step that I'm going to go through in this video, you may stand a chance. Step 1. Know what you are facing. You may think you know all there is to know about vampires. They are charismatic, sophisticated, immortal, maybe turn into bats and drink blood. But that is just one type of vampire. In reality, they come in all shapes and forms from around the world. And before you face one, you need to know what to expect. Some vampires do indeed look just like humans and are almost indistinguishable. But then there are also some that are said to be bloated with dark purple skin and blood constantly dripping from their mouths. And yet others shapeshift, sometimes looking like a very attractive young man or young woman before transforming into a creature with wings, putting its feet in its mouth so it can fly, or having a hollow thread-like tongue that lashes out and pierces you in the neck, then laps up your blood as if drinking from a straw. There are others who fly as well. Some have super strength, super senses, super speed. They can transform into different creatures. They have a healing factor. They can regenerate wounds incredibly quickly. There are reports that some can summon animals while others can mind control humans. They are powerful beings who go about their goals in many different ways. But make no mistake, all their goals are the same. And that is to feed on your life force, usually through drinking your blood. The best way for you to understand what is coming if you come face to face with a vampire is for me to talk about the real life case, reportedly, of Peter Blachowicz. Everything I'm about to tell you comes from the report of Imperial Provisor Ernst Frombold, an official of the Austrian monarchy. This report was published in the Wienerisches Diarium, a Viennese newspaper, in 1725. The newspaper is still going today, in fact, known now as the Wiener Zeitung, making it one of the oldest running newspapers in the world. I am sorry if I butchered those pronunciations. I tried my best. Peter Blachowicz was born in 1662 in a small village in what is now modern day Serbia. He had a rather normal life. He had a wife, he had a son. He was very loving from all reports. He was a responsible member of the community, well liked, all was very, very nice. Unfortunately, in 1725, he died. It's not stated how he died, but in 1725 he died. He was 63 years old at the time. It was all very sad, especially at the funeral. But what the villagers did not know is that it was going to get a whole lot sadder. Following the funeral, in the next 8 days, 9 separate villagers died after being sick for less than 24 hours each. And every single one of them said Peter Blachowicz, the man that had just died, had attacked them the night before. Every single one. Now, that's impossible, right? Peter Blachowicz was dead and buried. And yeah, you wouldn't be weird to think that they were hallucinating or something weird was going on. And the villagers thought the same. They're like, no way, what are they talking about? That is until Peter's wife, the woman who had stayed loyally by his side for years, made an announcement. She told the villagers that the night before, Peter had come to her house to speak with her, asking for his shoes. She had refused to let him in the house and refused to give him the shoes, so he left. She said that she was moving away from the village to a different village for her own safety and security. At this point, you can imagine the panic, the fear, the confusion that the villagers were going through. But wait, it gets worse. They then found Peter's son dead in his home. I am not sure how they figured this out, but according to the reports, maybe eyewitnesses or something else, Peter came in the night to his son's house asking for food. His son refused to give him the food, so Peter attacked him. The villagers just found the body the next day. He was showing signs of being bitten and having his blood drunk. This was all the proof the villagers needed. They dug up the body of Peter Blachowicz and they insisted that Imperial Provisor Ernst Frombold and a local priest check the body for signs of it possibly being a vampire. I will read you a little excerpt from the report that the Imperial Provisor wrote. Keep in mind, this is an official Imperial report. I have it over here. I wrote it down. The body was undecomposed. The hair and the beard were grown. There were new skin and nails, and blood could be seen in the mouth. Coming directly from the report of the Imperial Provisor Ernst Frombold. The villagers took the Imperial Provisor and the priest confirming that this indeed was a vampire as enough proof, and they then dealt with poor Peter Blachowicz in the way that they should have, which we will get to in steps 4 and 5. But for now, since you understand what it could look like coming face to face with a vampire and how dangerous they are, let's move to step 2. prevention. Vampires are formidable opponents, and the best way to make sure you survive a vampire attack is to make sure a vampire can never attack. So, I would be amiss if, before I went deeper into what to do when a vampire is directly in front of you, I didn't talk about how to stop a vampire from ever coming to you. There are two angles to preventing a vampire attack, a more longer term one and a more shorter term one. The longer term one is making sure that they are never created in the first place, and the shorter term one are specific things that will stop a vampire that's already created coming to you specifically. Let's talk about how to stop them from being created in the first place. Now, you may think that vampires are just usually created maybe after they're bitten by a vampire. If a human is bitten by a vampire, they'll turn. Sometimes there are things like you have to be bitten and have your blood sucked, and then you have to drink the blood of a vampire. Or sometimes it's even that you have to be bitten and then buried for 7 days, or something crazy like that. It depends on where you're getting the information from. And yes, stopping a vampire from turning you like that has to do more with the stopping a vampire from approaching you directly. But there are other reported ways that someone could become a vampire that don't have something to do directly with interaction with another vampire. And these are what we're going to look at. So, it has been reported that witches, when they die, can become vampires. And also in some Slavic and Chinese beliefs, if a cat or a dog jumps over a corpse, that corpse can rise as a vampire. Even something as simple as someone dying from a wound that hasn't been treated with boiling water can cause them to come back seeking blood. Possession is a big one as well. There are many cultures around the world that believe that an evil spirit can come to possess a corpse, and then that corpse will rise to become an extremely powerful vampire. All of these can possibly turn your loved one or you into a vampire. So that's why there are these traditions that have developed all around the world made to limit the amount of times this can happen. A big one is burying a body upside down. The idea is that if the body does come back as the undead, as a vampire, its first thought wouldn't be it wants to get out of the grave, right? So it will start digging upwards. Except if you've buried it upside down and it doesn't know, it will just keep digging and digging deeper and deeper. And it's pretty hard to turn around if you're stuck under that much earth. Another very popular idea was that if you put a scythe across the neck of a corpse, then if it does raise as the undead and it tries to get up, it will immediately be beheaded. They also use sickles for that. Imagine having to bury someone with a scythe across their neck. It's like, that's crazy. But of course there are other less violent ways to deal with it. A lot of people would weigh coffins down with stones to try and stop the vampire from being able to get out. How effective it was? Vampires can be pretty strong, but if it's a new vampire, it hasn't fed yet, who knows? Also, a popular thing was to put a bunch of sand next to graves. This is of course taking advantage of the fact that vampires, when they see any spilt grains, they compulsively have to count every single piece. We're going to be talking about that much more later on in the video because that is going to come in handy. All these things can help stop a vampire from being able to terrorize the living. But what if a vampire is already up and about? Well, you don't want it coming to stalk you, do you? So you need to have ways to make sure that it doesn't want to come near you. Of course, I could say something like, only go out in the daylight, only go out when the sun is up. But where's the fun in that? We want to live our lives, right? Like, we can't just live our life being scared of the sun goes below the horizon, no. So we need strategies. First of all, if you are in your home, you are safe because a vampire cannot enter anyone's home uninvited. So if you're getting some weird knock at 3 a.m. in the morning and you don't know who it is, even if you do know who it is, don't let them in, especially if they keep asking to be let in. Think about it. Imagine it's your cousin, right? You're at home, it's 3 a.m. and you hear the bell. You wake up, you're like, what? You go to the door, you're like, who is knocking in the middle of the night? And you look through your little peephole and you see your cousin. And your cousin is like, hey, help me. My car broke down. I need help. I remembered you lived here. Can you help me? Blah, blah, blah. Because likely a vampire will try come at you with some tactic. Oh, I need help, or this or that. Especially if it's someone you know who you may not know has passed away yet. Obviously, if you know someone has passed away and then they're standing at your door after their funeral, or even before the funeral, but they've passed away, don't even answer. Just don't. But let's say you don't know, so you just see your cousin, right? If they've asked for help and you've opened the door and they know you, wouldn't they just walk in? Ah, thank you so much. Walk in. If they ever say, so, are you gonna let me in? Can I come in? Is it okay if I come in? You close that door, okay? But of course, who is opening their door for anyone at 3 a.m. nowadays? If they don't have a key, they should not be there. That's what I say. If you should be there, you have a key. If not, don't be there. Anyway. I'm enjoying this one. Let me know in the comments if you're liking these types of videos, these how to survive videos. I'm trying them a bit. I kind of like going into depth about the creatures, talking about how to fight, how to survive. I personally think it's really cool and I'm enjoying it. So yes, when you're in your house, you'll be safe. But if you are outside at night, there are a few things that you need to carry with you. First of all, some raw garlic. Doesn't have to be a lot, but have some. Second of all, some pure silver. Just go to the jewelry shop, get even a small amount of pure silver. And the third thing, which actually won't be used in this step, but which will be used in the following steps, is a small bag of any kind of grain. That could be rice, that could be sugar, salt, beans, sand, like I mentioned earlier, anything like that. Vampires have an extreme sense of smell. So even if you have a little bit of garlic, just like at the bottom of your bag or in your pocket, vampires will smell it and they will avoid you like the plague. It is one of their biggest weaknesses. They can deal with it, it doesn't kill them, but they will avoid it and just go for an easier option in most cases. Pure silver is the backup. If a vampire comes at you and you have some silver, even if it's a silver earring, a silver ring, anything, that is a weapon. Touch it to the vampire skin, it will burn them. They'll want to get out of there. It's a really painful experience to be touched with silver for a vampire. That should protect you reasonably well, but not always. And it depends on the vampire and the situation. Again, garlic and silver, they're weaknesses for a vampire, but they don't kill it. Imagine it's like having a serious allergic reaction, but not a fatal one. You don't want to have it, but if you need something and it feels life or death for you, but it's causing adverse reaction, you can still get through it. Let's say you are the only person around and you come across a vampire that hasn't had any food, any blood in a really long time, and it's starving and it's desperate, and you present your garlic and your silver. It will hurt the vampire, sure, but it won't stop. It needs to feed. So that's when we have to move to step 3, conflict avoidance. You do not want to fight a vampire because chances are you will lose. Of course, if you have to fight, I am obviously going to give you the best tactics and strategies to have the best possible chance of winning. We'll get to that in step 4. But if you can avoid it, it is much better. You want to avoid conflict. So there is a extremely simple plan of what to do if you recognize that a vampire has approached you. You drop the bag of grains immediately, rip it open, spill it all over the floor. The vampire will have to, it doesn't have a choice, it compulsively has to start counting every single grain, and then get out of there, but in a specific way. If you can, the first thing you want to do is cross moving water. Vampires cannot cross moving water. So if you're able to get on the other side of a river, a stream, something like that, the vampire will still be counting, and it's very likely that it could just be counting those grains until the sun comes up. It won't be able to move and it will be destroyed by the sun. But still, you want to be safe, not sorry. So the next thing you do, if you can, is cross moving water, and then you need to get into a home, ideally yours, but if it's someone else's who you know, that's great. But you need to make sure that after you're in, you don't open the door and tell anyone that they can come in. In fact, if that person has also watched this video, they're probably not going to let you in, which is why you should go to your home if you're able to. You should be fine if you follow these 3 steps, assuming of course that you recognize the vampire in time. It may stop you, that's the thing. If a vampire comes close, they're not all bloated, some of them just look normal, some of them look very attractive. If it gets close, you realize late and you take the bag of grains out, but it stops you, or maybe you don't even realize that you need to because it's basically on top of you before you realize what it's trying to do and it attacks you. Then that's when we move to step 4, become a vampire slayer. You know, the fact that vampires have been around for thousands of years, and unlike some of the other creatures I've spoken about like manticores or phoenixes, vampires often come into contact with humans. Because of all this, we know exactly what their weaknesses are and exactly how to defeat them. I am assuming you don't have a gun with silver bullets, because that's hard to come across. If you do, nice. Shoot the creature, heart, head, then move on to step 5. The other ways to defeat a vampire in combat, well, I say other ways as if there are many. There are 2. One is to use a wooden stake to pierce the vampire's heart, and 2 is to behead the vampire in any way you can. Ideally with something powerful like an axe, so you can just do it in one go. Most people aren't carrying wooden stakes around with them, so that's why I'm saying conflict avoidance all the way. But if you do have a wooden stake, or if you can find one if you have to fight, or if you do have some kind of bladed weapon where you could behead a vampire, based on my research, the best way to deal with them is, again, does depend on the grains. If you have any grains, or if you can find any, spill it on the ground. The vampire will compulsively have to count and then stab it or behead it. If you don't have grains, then use the garlic, use the silver, do what you can to hurt it and distract it, and then go for it. Those are the strategies. You see, if you have no weapons, then I don't know what to tell you, because just fight your best, try and find something, run away, cross moving water, like do what you have to do, improvise, but just know that your chances are slim to none. The reason I tell most people to spill the grains then get out of there is because 1, most people don't have the weaponry on a normal day-to-day basis, and 2, it's traumatizing to deal with something like that. You want to get out of there. And 3, if there's one vampire in the area, there's no reason to say that there aren't more. So it's best to just get out of there as soon as possible. But that is also the best strategy to actually defeat the vampire in a fight. If you have defeated the vampire in a fight, you've staked it through the heart or you've beheaded it, then you can move on to step 5, dispose of the body. Vampires are pretty much immortal unless they are destroyed in particular ways. That means that even if you stake them through the heart or you behead them, oftentimes that's not enough. Given a long enough time, they will heal and they will come back. So that's why you have to truly burn the body. Now you could potentially just wait until the sun comes up and the sun could do it for you, but why wait if you're in that situation? Like I say, there could be other vampires around. So what you do is you burn the body, except that you burn the heart separately. Now, some people say that just burning the whole body together is good enough. Me personally, if you're gonna do it, I'd say do it thoroughly. And I know for a fact, based on my research, that if you burn the body and the heart separately, that vampire is not coming back, not ever. Of course, then you have the gruesome task of, how do I put this in a YouTube friendly way? Separating the heart from the body, which is very gruesome and horrible. And again, that's why fighting the vampire, even if you can win, I do not suggest to everyone. But burn the body and the heart separately. That vampire will never be able to come back. So I'd say this video has been pretty thorough. We spoke about how to escape from a vampire and how to slay a vampire and make sure that it stays dead this time. However, of course, not everything goes to plan. And sometimes you may be in a situation where you're not able to escape, or you're not even able to fight. Or maybe you've tried to escape and been caught, then you tried to fight and have been beaten. What do you do then? Well, there is only one other option that you can possibly do. And it's gonna be a controversial one, so hear me out. It is the bonus step. Convince the vampire to turn you. Wait. Yes, you heard right, but give me a chance to explain. Look, this is a very personal decision, because if you truly have been defeated by a vampire, then you are about to have your blood sucked and you will lose your life. At that point, you have lost. So what can you possibly do in that situation if you want to survive, except for ask for the vampire to turn you? Now, some people will say, no way, I would never want to be a vampire. I'd rather just pass away. And that is fine. That is your personal choice. This is a completely personal choice. But if you are interested in continuing life in some sort of capacity, then I would not be doing my job if I did not give you all the options. So what you can do is attempt to convince the vampire to turn you into a vampire. You see, the life of a vampire can get extremely lonely. Vampires often live in solitude, often have a lot of conflict with their own kind. So if you are able to ask for it to turn you and offer your companionship, basically forever, then the vampire may be swayed and it may actually turn you, and then you are living on as an undead creature who needs blood. And of course, what you do then, whether you are telling the truth or not, that's up to that situation, but you'll be on a more level playing field. But if you do want to continue in some sort of capacity on this world, then that is what you can do. But again, this is a completely personal decision. I mean, I definitely know what I would do.